Tervehdys, Laura.
Terve Otto.
And hello to you all listening or watching the Spirit of Sauna podcast. Today, actually, we have a matching outfit.
Oh,
we have similar
nice.
hoodies.
Well coordinated.
yeah, which we actually, I think we did this for a sauna event.
Yeah.
We wanted to have like a very matching
outfits.
Yeah, and really proud of our logo. This is really wonderful. Almost looks like a shaman drum, but it's also mapped to our sauna.
True.
Yeah. Today we have just a truly fascinating topic. And I'd want to ask you, Laura, like how do you heal a person?
Well, if we look at the word etymologically, it comes healing comes from the word health, which comes from the word whole. So bring wholesomeness to the person, or bring the person to wholesomeness. So maybe that would be a short answer.
Yeah,
how to heal someone.
Well, of course, that gives us tons of more questions, and of course, but this is just a very interesting sort of even like a philosophical framework, because then we would have to ask, like, okay, so if you want somebody to be wholesome or like a whole person, then of course it is implied that most of us are fractured in some way. And what do you think nowadays? Like, why do people need healing? What is the what's the problem?
Well, maybe healing is something that is like inherent in the concept of life. Yeah. That people always, healing has been a vital part of existence, and it is something that naturally living beings do, but maybe for a modern person we are even more in need of it. Like if you compare to plants and animals in the nature, or maybe even human beings in another era. Yeah. Maybe this idea, if health is wholesomeness, the lifestyle and culture and all this cultivates right now individualism, and all this cultivates the separateness. Yeah. So maybe now more than ever, then really this sort of healing is in demand.
Yeah, that's right. If we look at the truly ancient past, like even if the conservative estimates say that Finns have been using a sauna for thousands of years, and I would even claim it goes way back to the earliest time of humankind, or even like having, like we talked, like hot rocks in a cave. But when we think about what kind of surroundings these people have been inhabiting, first of all, like when it comes to Finland, it is no people, like really just like full of wildlife. Yeah. I can just imagine the amount of fish and wildlife and everything around, the plants, untouched naturescapes, all of that. But also this community, like that you would need the community in order to survive. And in the modern world, or even this nowadays like postmodern world, your basic necessities are not the problem usually. Like it's very rare that somebody is really lacking food or water, especially in Finland. And then we get another set of problems. Like the ancient people, they developed these systems of healing for different purposes. So if we look at, for example, back time, say 4,000 or 5,000 years, what do you think? Like, why would they have someone like a saunottaja, like a sauna healer amongst them to do this work? What would be the purpose of that?
Most likely it has been, well, of course, this is my speculations
now.
But if you think about it, what is the you go to a healer, or you go to saunottaja, you go to different ritual providers.
Yeah, right.
Ceremony masters. What are the terms in English? I don't
Your
know.
local ritual
Yes.
provider.
Yes, exactly. Exactly, that one.
Yeah.
But you go there sort of to align yourself.
Yeah.
Aligning, like if you look at any ancient culture, there is different science of astrology or mythology or different types of ritual works that have always been performed. And it is all about aligning yourself with sort of the blueprint of life.
Yeah.
And each of us obviously have our unique life to live.
Yeah.
And it can be called a path of life. And we always come across different pastors and different rock formations and different turns in our path. And it is always good to have a little bit someone to show a sign. Okay, that hey, that's quite well in line with your how what you were born to do. And maybe nowadays for us it's not so clear because we are not part of this, like you mentioned, community and ancestral lineage and all that. We are so individual that so the path is a little bit more difficult to even understand what it means.
Yeah, right.
But those days I do believe that you were such a vital part of the system, like every tree in the forest is that they have their very unique space of growth and alignment of growth. And you go to a healer to make yourself whole, align yourself with that, your destiny, your and sort of to remind yourself of that blueprint that you were born with and born to do.
Yeah, and it's interesting how the whole culture is supporting this. Like your mythology has, like for example, we have a very rich sauna mythology in Finland, and you would sing these songs that tell about the hyvä löyly, paha löyly, karkotetaan katehet, and so on. Just like these sort of descriptions of life itself. And lately I've been thinking about a lot about this, like that it actually might be the case when we think about religion. Like for example, yesterday I had an interesting discussion with this lady who was here, and she was surprised that it was surprisingly ceremonial, this peat ceremony that we have. Really impressed, and she was like, yeah, now I feel like, maybe half jokingly, like some bad stuff, if you believe in that, now it's gone. And then I said, like, if we talk about, for example, like paha löyly, that is your aches and all of the stuff from the day that you want to just wash away. So it's a symbolic meaning. But lately I've been thinking about this, that in religion, like if we have an icon for a certain religion, say in Finnish, Väinämöinen. In the 19th century, they still thought Väinämöinen was a real person, but nobody thinks now. Like you'll be hard pressed to find anyone who thinks Väinämöinen was a real person. So we now know it's a mythological icon, and there you have this idea that you can transmit this kind of knowledge by telling the story of this icon. And it doesn't require that you actually know the sort of philosophical background or mythological background. It doesn't require that you know about healing, like as a practice and so on. But then you can still sing the runes with the sauna healer and so on. So it's kind of a really ingenious way, because there always has been these people who actually think about it. Yeah, right. This story is really interesting. Like maybe I just put it in a different form today. Or not even think, maybe they, like they say many times, speak with the bigger mouth, so to say. How's that in English? But anyways, something with the bigger mind. And then just leaving the analytical mind of the healer to the background and just self-express, and then you get just the right words and so on. But this is just a really interesting way to transfer knowledge throughout time, like that it's a mythological story. You don't have to know anything about the backgrounds. It's just a really compelling story. You can tell it to children, you can tell it to adults, and just the practices that are derived from this story actually happen to make you whole. So you feel also better after singing and so on, because it's sort of, it's in the fabric of reality where it's taken from. But yeah, this is the sort of. I'm just constantly baffled by the fact that we still have so much material which dates back so far back, like so many hundreds or thousands of years. That's pretty astonishing, actually. It's like hieroglyphs in Egypt, but we just have it, in runes that we sing.
Yeah, because well, of course, we do have some rock paintings and things like that are also like visual remainders and some something that have been dug into the rocks and things like that. So carvings, So those we can find also here, but mainly here it is really sort of in a language carries a lot of those remnants. Finnish language is amazing, and we have, of course, the very precious work that these folklorists and other tradition collectors, how do you call them, those who went from village to village and wrote down those practices and songs that people were singing and the invocations they were using. But in Finnish language we do carry a lot of these remnants of those days that that our worldview and our life was very different, and how our ancestors have seen the world. It of course like our worldview, how we see the world right now and experience our life, it is sort of it comes from the all these experiences and thoughts that our ancestors have lived through. Obviously it affects right now, we are the result of that. But when you start looking, like the language has passed from mouth to mouth, it carries a lot of these, like Egyptian hieroglyphs. We look at the words of the Finnish language and it carries a lot. So it is very powerful, the words that you use and how you use them, of course, like the rune singing tradition of Finland. Finland is wrong to say. The Baltic Finnish tradition is the correct way. So when we say Finnish tradition, we refer to the Baltic Finnish tradition.
The Inkeri people, the Vepsa people,
Karelians, everybody.
Even Samojed people.
Estonian tradition is the same. We all share. So not just Finnish.
Right.
But forgive us if we speak about Finnish. That's what we mean.
Especially to the brothers or cousins in the Baltic states.
Yes.
We're sorry if we made the connotation that it would be in this geographical area, which we now know as Finland.
These countries are so modern concepts.
That's right.
It definitely, we are talking about things that are much more far. But so we carry this how would I say, symbols or clues maybe to this, what our ancestors could have been talking about, or how when you ask this question, how about 4,000 years ago? What would a healing mean? What would a procedure of healing mean? So maybe we have some clues, like of course when we talk about sauna we have to talk about löyly. And there is a very good word that gives us a very big clue. We can start tracing the symbolism and the multi-layered meanings of this word, and maybe get a little grasp of what could this sort of ancestral healing be talking about.
Right, because the word löyly, it's one of the oldest words in Finnish language, like the Fenno-Ugric, like proto word is levle, and you can just, and this is interesting how you trace this, is that there's some pockets of like people who speak Finnish-like languages. Rare nowadays, but still 50 years ago you could still find quite a lot more of these people, and they would have a word like levle, which would mean sort of the breath of life, that the part of soul that breathes, or something like that. And then you would compare it to the Finnish word löyly or the Hungarian word lelek, and in löyly in Finnish it's just pouring waters in rocks nowadays. And in Hungarian, it's not pouring waters in rocks, it's your soul. So when you go to a Christian mass, it's lelek, is the word. So with this kind of work, we can definitely, yes, we can travel back in time. We can go to these places and see that they have a mythological character called Inmar, which is the relative of Ilmarinen, the sort of blacksmith mythological god. And this is just the way that we can, exactly, start to trace, like, what does it mean. And in this way, I think that the worldview or the philosophy is like a mill, It's the sort of foundation or the basis of everything. So then you can sort of derive practices also from there. So you can say, all right, so in Finland they have been using these materials from the local area. Maybe they most probably have, traced their rituals with the sun, with the moon, and so on and so on. So it gives quite a lot of interesting sort of clues in that. But that's a really important thing, that, we don't care if it would be 100% the same. It cannot be, because now we're in 2025 and then they were 4000 BC. So it's quite a different world. Yeah. So it never can be just exactly the same. And this is sort of the mistake that many people say also in other, like, if you're, I don't know, kung fu teacher or what, I say, oh, it's been exactly like this for 5,000 years. That's a lie always. So the thing is that that's not what matters. The most important thing is that the essence, the sort of mill that runs in the background, that is very much aligned with the ancient people. And I would say just the interpretation from these texts, it's very difficult to make the interpretation. Yes, these people were, philosophically materialists. They thought only material exists. We have a human body which has these limbs and so on. It doesn't seem like they saw human person or the nature like this at all. So then we're left to study, like, okay, so how did they see it? And thank God there's alternatives, and that sort of gives way for this really transformative practices.
Yeah. But for me, I have found very important this sort of a thought play to do with myself, that if I look at some ancient culture, or I trace back my ancestor lineage and try to look at their wisdom, like hundreds, thousands of years back, it is very important to sort of catch yourself into this, because we are very much influenced by this idea of linear development of humanity. So it is so imprinted in us that very easily we start thinking that okay, now that we know so much better, okay, let's do this game of little bit looking what they were doing, and now from our better understanding point of view, we look at them.
Those poor people,
and okay, maybe even fascinating people. I may be even very, very, very fascinated by them, and maybe I think that okay, there's a lot of suffering now. So let me look how they used to do it. But for me, it has been a very essential point to understand that hey, actually, the sort of the common sense of people has always been like if you would put some mathematical equation, it's always same level. It's just that the world view that you apply that common sense to give you the intuitive experience of the world has changed so drastically. And when I realized this, then it started looking very differently. Like exactly what you were saying, then I was able to grasp the idea that, okay, I don't need to be, even I look at something ancient, I'm not actually time traveling. I'm going to that area of life that is beyond time and space. Something that is eternal. And it was very important to go through that thinking and catch yourself how deep rooted it is in us, this idea of linearity. And
superiority, really. Like that comes really like, for example, for me, for the longest time, it's been impossible to accept that, for example, ancient people would know the principles of electricity. And lately I'm not left with any other choice. Like if you look at this like healing practices, not just the Finnish one, we talk like, for example, väki is a fascinating word in Finnish, like the sort of spark of our whole metabolism and all of that, like how we live, like the principle of that. but then looking at these more sort of, I would say, elaborate or scholarly traditions, especially the Indian one, but also like a Greek one, then, you know, just when they're talking about the polarities, plus and minus and so on, woman and man, and, you know, all these just really ancient archetypes, and how they derived the elemental theory from this, it's just astonishingly sophisticated. Yeah. And from this point of view, it doesn't surprise me that we had university institutions 1,000 years ago. Like, not in Finland, this just wasn't our way. But for example, Nalanda University in India, which used to have 15,000 students and a few thousand staff members, and people would come all the way from Turkey to study there. They wouldn't study some superstitious crap. You know? It's not exactly. Like they're not going to travel around the world for that kind of stuff.
Oh, I'm scared of the wind. What do I do?
Yeah, exactly. So now I go to this university which has a surgeon, surgery faculty, and, you know, geography faculty and so on. So I would go to study like how not to be scared and or to get lucky next time we have harvest. It seems like that's the stupid explanation nowadays. But that used to be my default. Like how would I would default? Like that they most likely still, come on, they were stupid. Like we're intelligent, they were stupid. And just getting rid of this has been a healing journey in itself.
Ancestral healing.
Yeah, it's ancestral healing, because then I can be like proud of my like, you know, people who lived here, my ancestors maybe thousands of years ago. I don't know, maybe they lived here, maybe probably in Sweden, part of it, and so on, on the northern hemisphere in general, and to just appreciate that they survived here, and they didn't only survive, but it seems they kind of thrived, really. If you look at the bodies, very nice bone structure, big jaws, which makes it easy to breathe, all of that. It doesn't seem that they had like, that much like lump backs and so on. Of course, the nutrition is scarce, it's and they most probably didn't have an idea of like you don't get oranges in Finland, but they would drink bone broth, and so they would try their best in this. But of course, what we have as an advantage is this global supply chain, so that we can get like everything on demand, what we like, and then we can optimize and so on. But the one thing that cannot be bought from a store is meaning, And but how would you see like meaning and this sort of healing work? You were talking about how it's about making a person whole. It has something to do with meaning, right? And is it actually a sort of a meaning crisis that we have nowadays that is making us kind of unwholesome or sick even?
Yeah. Even you yourself described very well what this does to a person when you sort of look at your ancestral lineage as something stupid, that I'm now better, and they were stupid. It breaks a person's psyche a lot. Your subconscious psyche. A big healing happens already just with the process that you start, honoring and respecting your ancestral lineage, like really, truly, not just that you're fascinated by, I love these little mythological stories, and it's a beautiful vocabulary, and
not just aesthetics.
Not just aesthetics, but really, truly, like from the bottom of your heart and also from the bottom of your intelligence, start honoring and realizing that, like you were describing, that you've realized they have known electricity, they've known really this
maybe like, not these boxes of electricity, but the
principle that's what I mean, that you start realizing that this that there is so much like really inspiration to derive from there, not just knowledge, wisdom, practical tools, but also inspiration. And that is already a very healing experience, because when you start loving your ancestors, you realize that you're loving yourself. Because what are you but link in that chain and sort of the outcome of this process. And so healing definitely, you cannot take away the sort of the meaning from healing, because basically, what does all sort of, you can optimize your whatever breath or your diet or your sleeping patterns or your whatever exercises and all, but unless you have a meaning why you get up every morning from the bed and you are connected to the reason that you were born on this earth and that you have a purpose that you're here to fulfill, unless you truly feel it in your bones, then really none of those, it's like, it's just the aesthetics of life then, that you are okay,
like a shell,
like a shell, you may have it very well shined, but truly what really wholesome health means, that you have a purpose that you're here to fulfill, you have that path, and these rituals and healing practices, be it a treatment or be it a ceremony or whatever it is, they are all meant to be sort of just support structures on that path, and sort of always reinstate you into your footsteps on that path.
Do you think that this is religious? Like, does it require like belief in order to benefit from like healing work?
It depends a little bit, I think, how you define belief.
Yeah, right.
I would love to hear that first.
No, I'm just thinking about, like, for example, I heard this story about like a young London like executive level guy who would live in a high rise, have a very nice home, millions of euros or whatever, and then this guy didn't hear from his friend for a while, and then he came a few months later and he said, I went to America and I got baptized, I'm a Catholic now. And he said he's never felt better. And why is this? Of course the problem he had was depression, lack of meaning. I got all of this, I feel like an imposter, what now? What should I do? And 20 years ago, for example, in Finland, I guess it went record high, the people who would leave the church in Finland. And Lutherans in Finland haven't been too religious anyway, like for the past 70 years. But now it sort of was going really fast downfall. And now I'm just hearing, like, especially young men, but also women, coming to the church in order to find meaning. So again, this cyclical nature that, religion comes and goes, it doesn't seem like we get maybe some people would like to have like an atheistic society. And I can see the merit to that as well. But then this meaning is in the forefront, like, because they want to attach themselves to something that is multi-generational and especially with Christianity, it's been a couple of thousand years already. So in this sense, like if you think going to a mass, like if you want to go and take the what is it, the ehtoollinen, the ritual that they do
when you go and get your wine and bread.
yes right consecration.
I don't know.
Anyways, it kind of requires that you believe. Like, otherwise it's just LARPing. But if you go there and you're like, you feel like you're eating the body of Jesus and drinking the wine, like you want to feel that in yourself. Yes, that kind of requires but do you think in like healing work there is something like this, that when you participate you would need to have this kind of sentiment?
Well, that's a tricky question. I would say no. In like, if you want yes or no answer, then I would say definitely no. But
anybody asking us when calling our customer service, no.
No. And also, like, I don't. For me, I have tried my share of religions and sort of this belief work, and I have tried my share of performing rituals just for the sake of believing and trying to sort of change myself from external first, and thinking that the internal will change if I do enough. I've tried my share of that, and I've grew up with a religion and tried some other religion very, very like devotedly. But like the work we do here, the rituals we perform here, I don't say that they are questions of belief. They are more rituals, like if I would call, how would I say, taking like pattern or formula of physics and turning it into a machine. I could call that a ritual or this sort of practice. So in the same way, I feel that us here, when we do our healing treatments or healing rituals, our monthly rituals, aligning with the yearly cycle, we try to perform them from those basic sort of not scientific in a modern sense of scientific, but more in a traditional way of scientific, that we really look into this basic blueprint, these formulas of life, and try to apply those into practice. And I would actually say that belief is a little bit of a bad idea in that stage, because we have intelligence for a reason. Even in this podcast we always talk about, when you go to sauna, please shut down your analytical mind and close it and forget it doesn't do any good.
Right.
But actually I love the analytical mind. It's a really important gatekeeper. And this is where I find that this religion and belief becomes risky if you really, even though I always start my sauna ceremony by saying that please now let go of thinking, leave all the thinking outside, because it's not in the ritual that you do the thinking, but rituals should be based on that they can last, they can sort of be questioned, and they should be based on principles that are not a matter of belief.
Yes, exactly. This questioning, just it's important in our, like when we do a training, and for example, it's the most, like the richest perspective if somebody comes from a science background, is a doctor, is a physicist, is a chemist. It's just such a gift, because then I can say, okay, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a physicist, so could you please open this perspective to the thermal mass or whatever from the physics perspective. So then we can start a dialogue, and I can say, okay, the tradition says this, the science says that, and maybe we can bridge the gap. And we've had such incredible experiences with people. Like, for example, I'm reminded of this one person who's from a famous university in the US, and I guess he's one of the top quantum physicists in the world, and was visiting Finland and came here for a sauna treatment. And when we first said hello, and I see what an intelligent person, just had a few words, but I could see that this person was quite stressed out. Like it's a tough work life nowadays, and especially if you're in a demanding position, it's not like you have pause from your analytical mind. Even if you're not working, you're thinking about concepts and how to solve this problem and so on. And then after the treatment, just asking how was it? Almost impossible to find words. Maybe the word that I feel whole or something, really profound realization that this person gets. So in this kind of situation, it's the best possible combination. So you have the courage and the will to study, so that you use your analytic mind in order to not to believe anything, and for example, if we train some people, we might be mistaken about something, and and we have been. We will be. And we will be, and we're just ready to change our minds. But it requires that some person is opening the mouth and saying, yes, my analytic mind now says this. Maybe we can have a discussion about this. But then when it comes to the actual experience, then, leaving the analytic mind at the moment out actually gives you better tools later on to approach it. Because if you don't just take it in, you don't let life close to you, then you just miss the sort of essence of the healing practice. And so I think it's a sort of interplay between these two modes. And I even think it might have been in the ancient times. Thinking about people who would come to Finland, they were probably very skillful boats builders. They might have sailed with the boats far away to Sweden, Denmark, all of this, even Basque country. There's might be some clues for that. So building a good boat requires a lot of skill, analytics. You have to think about, okay, if there's a storm, how do we balance and all of that. And then he would go to a sauna healer. It would be the time that it's a ritual. So you're very well trained since childhood to leave that out, and then afterwards you're like, yes, now I got it. It just came to my mind. Right, I just do it with this kind of thing. And so in that sense, this basic modality probably hasn't changed. It's just now such a complex world, and we're really required to know a lot in order to function, like in the work life, for example.
Of course. And we have to. In the everyday life, we operate, our analytical mind is important. Modern day, is maybe overemphasized.
Yeah.
And we have forgotten that even in our everyday life, we are operating all the time through all the 5, even 6 senses. And that's actually the foundation of our life experience. And the analytical mind has overtaken, but nonetheless, very important part of life. But rituals, the one essence of ritual, I'm not, when I say ritual, I mean also treatments and like the wider concept of healing practices is what I'm referring to with rituals. So these rituals that's the time when we operate with our analytical mind and in our sort of everyday mind, we are operating with the structure of space and time, and we are sort of having, at least in the modern world, we are having this sense of something happening after something else, and sort of that things are progressing, and we are going on in our life. But rituals give us a break from that, and that's why it's very important that sort of belief steps in there, because we are stepping to this liminal space that is beyond space and time, and for a little bit we are leaving out this our everyday operator, which is our senses and analytical mind, and we are just stepping through the gate to this eternal. What do you call
realm?
That is really beyond space and time, and there you have whatever has ever been and whatever will ever be is there. It's all and nothing at the same time. So like there, that I could in one way then call this belief work, but not in the sense that religions usually use it.
I think it's also trust could be another
trust
word.
Is maybe better,
you just trust that you will be okay, even though you leave the analytical mind out. If you like, I've been an analytical person my whole life, and that was a difficult journey for me, just to trust. There is a me without thoughts, like, because I believe this very clumsy translation of René Descartes' cogito ergo sum, which is I think, therefore I am, which is not actually a correct translation. It's there is cognition, so there is. So it doesn't even require me or my thoughts or whatever. But I thought it's like this: a person is a thinking machine, and just to trust that, I might be a thinking machine, but if I just let go of it for 5 seconds, maybe afterwards when I wake up, so to say, I'm still a thinking machine, so nothing bad happened, but I just give way for the experience. So I trust the experience to give me something good. And in this way, what I said, if somebody calls our customer service, I don't know from which background they come from. So the safest answer is to say, no, it doesn't. But then we can talk about, maybe you can just trust that it will be a nice thing. Just go and give it a try. And of course, we leave space for that. It might not be your thing. Maybe afterwards you're like, I trust it. It was nice, but it was a good experience. I'm happy if I don't have this again. That's fine, that's totally fine. Although I would want to then ask, did you drink electrolytes? Did you use a sauna head? So on, but nevertheless, it is always a possibility that you try, you trust, and then you have the experience and you're richer as a person for that. And
there is, it's very important that sort of to understand that not everything good is good for everybody at all times. So like sometimes you're at that stage in your path and maybe it's just terribly horrible. You have that little death in the sauna and you're just so like,
you just don't want
is not for me. And who knows, 40 years later and is time for that. So in that way, healing has never been something that should be forced upon anybody, or that could be sort of made into pill that this heals everybody.
Yeah, right.
Because it is such it's living process.
Yeah.
And so everybody in their path come across this healing in a way that is needed at that point. So in that way, when you are practicing healing rituals or doing healing treatments, it's really super important that you don't start micromanaging other people's healing.
And also that control aspect, that's absolutely the first thing that a healer has to avoid. Try to control yourself, but especially others. Like if you're in martial arts, you might notice that some people want to control others, but I've been noticing in many of these sort of self-healing, self-realization practices, people start to control themselves, control their breath, control their sleep, control this, control that, and just the relief can be from the fact that you're not in control right now. Like I want to usually use like the most banal like examples, just to maybe it's a shock value. I'm sorry for everybody, but for example, you relax, you lie down somewhere, relax, and then you fart, and it's it might be just the most embarrassing. You're like, oh my god, I just want to leave this earth, but it's really important, It's because it's a moment of you let go of control, and this happened, and. Nobody got upset, every life continues, you're richer for that. So then you trust it a little bit, and your body trusted so that you could let go, and it's a valuable experience. So the point is just to trust whatever happens, it's going to be all right, It's going to last, maybe if we go to a ritual, it lasts 1 hour, 2 hours, and then you'll continue your life, and most likely, it's pretty, we can say, not for certain, but for most people, they feel better leaving than coming in. So, that's but that's already, sort of almost want to think a little bit like marketing aspect to it. We're also doing this as entrepreneurs. And of course, we want to tell to people like what to expect, because that's part of that. But if we would do it like if this would be a temple of sauna, we would be just silent. And it's like no words.
Yeah.
Like show to people, go there, no words at all, and then people could digest their experience by themselves. But of course, we want to also we care about people, so that's why we want to give guidance and talk about it, and also just to give space if somebody has let go of the control, and how did it feel? How did it make you feel afterwards?
Yeah, but it is such a vital role of sauna practitioners to be that sort of to create that feeling of trust. Yeah. So basically, because that's the most important, our nerve system is wired in that way that if we don't feel that social connection that brings us trust, and if we cannot feel safe, that we will not relax, and healing will not happen. So that's 100% sure. Yeah. Because as long as we are alert, we are in that control stage, and when we feel safe, I love it that in the Finnish tradition, many of our invocations for when we are singing songs about the structure of sauna, or sort of invocations for a new sauna that we're entering, they are very similar than the lullabies that mothers sing for their babies. Yeah, right. Because really, when we are doing healing ritual, that's what we want to soothe the person. Like mother wants to soothe the child to rest and recover and sleep in those underworld, or what is Tuonela?
Underworld, yeah, right.
Underworld, the land of the death. Yeah. We want to soothe the baby there, because that's where the healing happens. That's where the great generations are to give that support, so that then again, when the wake up time comes, the new growth can happen. So similarly, we have to create such a safe space that you are on the mother's arms when the baby feels so safe that they can just really do the ultimate let go and just just dive into the underworlds, and then of course we have to know how to bring people back from there. So this is the really the ancestral healing path that we always take when we do a sauna healing session. That we really suit the person to this land of or realm of the other side, and then bring back. And this is really scary.
Yeah,
it is.
It can be.
It can be. Yeah. It can be really scary if you are. We all are very used to this really heavy control. So yeah, be it a fart or be it falling asleep or whatever it is when we are not in control.
Yeah, right.
So this and that's why maybe healing is needed more than ever now that we have all these LED lights and machines and everything. We have so made it so easy to be in control in that way that we really our nerve system even cannot anymore let go because it wants to be in that control state all the time. So maybe this sort of brings the need of this how would I say sauna type of healing on a higher level at this modern way of life.
Wonderfully said, and 100% agree. And also sauna is almost the perfect spot for this. It is just as a temple, it is very apt for this kind of work. Wow, yeah, just a wonderful discussion again. It's just we're so happy always on Friday afternoon before starting the work for the evening session. We come here and talk about this our favorite topics really, and it's, and please just the more I talk about when you're commenting, the less comments we get. So I don't know about it. I don't know if there's correlation, but please do comment and share and like the video and subscribe us. It means the world to us, really. Yeah. It really makes us feel that there's a community around this, and of course, if you want to learn more than this, SAUNOTUS.com or saunahealer.com. We have intro courses. It's only 3 days. Then we have 5 days and even 2 weeks. And we have some people coming all the way from United States for 2 weeks to study with us. This is gonna be just a really throughout journey to this world, and it makes us feel really good that our small little podcast is now making a little waves, and people seem to get something out of these discussions. And please suggest topics. I know there's a couple of suggestions. We have to take these into account. Maybe the next and episode after that. We'll see how it's going to be. Yeah, but now is time to start preparing. Friday is the best day because today is again our monthly ceremony, and to be honest, I love that we spoke about ancestral healing today, my suggestion, because we are living now in the month of October, and now is my favorite season of the year. The Kekri season is here. That's nice. So we are really getting to dive into the arms of our ancestors today in our evening sauna, and so very happy, and it was a nice sort of, how would I say, guidance towards our evening sauna to have this talk with you. Yeah, the most important festive times of the Finnish calendar since ancient times, not now so much. Christmas has taken its place, but Kekri or maybe something similar is like Samhain or Halloween or something like that. But for us, it's a celebration of ending the year, and we're just now wanting to go inside the ground to the smoke sauna. The will to do that is higher than at any time of the year. Yeah. So, but hey, thank you, Laura. It was wonderful. Kiitos. And thank you to our listeners, and see you next time.